Another prop tech startup is at the brink of collapse. This time, Frontdesk, which is a short-term rental provider, has laid off 200 employees. They're full-time, part-timers, and contractors. Were informed in a 2-minute Google Meet call that they are being laid off. So let's read and understand what's happening right now. We have the short-term rental provider Frontdesk laying off its entire staff is on the verge of shutting down. So this article is courtesy of Techcrunch, and let's read. Frontdesk, a startup that managed more than 1,000 furnished apartments across the United States, laid off its entire 200-person workforce Tuesday after attempts to raise more capital failed. Now, this mass layoff comes 7 months after the Milwaukee-based startup acquired Zen City. So it acquires Zen City, which had about 200 doors, if I remember correctly, that they were based out of Chicago. So they acquired them a few months ago, and at this point, the entire operation is going down. Now, during the call, Frontdesk CEO Jesse DePinto told employees that Frontdesk will be filing for a state receivership, an alternative to bankruptcy, according to sources. Now, it's to my understanding that state receivership will go a little bit faster and has more options, more flexibility. Now, unfortunately, this is something I know too closely because there's been other startups or other business ventures that unfortunately have I've had to bankrupt. Don't judge me, but it's to my understanding that that's what the state receivership allows these folks to do. Go a little bit faster and have some additional opportunities. Now, Frontdesk, which was founded in 2017, had raised $26 million from investors such as JetBlue Ventures, Veritas Investments, Sand Hill Angels, according to Crunchbase. Now, JetBlue Ventures is someone that is a company that invests primarily in travel, in hospitality, and that type of business. So it's not new to this particular type of investment. Veritas Investments, I believe, is more of a commercial investor, so the commercial space investor in terms of commercial real estate. And then Sand Hills Angels, I believe that was just more of a broad-based investor group. They don't really niche down into a particular vertical. So that one's really the one that has the most I would say non-specific to the industry experience there. Now, Frontdesk went out for a bridge loan, attempting to sell investors on a new plan of doing full building management. That tactic didn't work out, and the company couldn't keep operating. So again, that's why it's going into receivership, which should go a little bit faster and provide some additional opportunities or flexibility. Now, Frontdesk was apparently still optimistic about its ability to raise more capital. So here's the thing: whenever you're raising capital, this is something that I have some exposure with in several different fronts in the Frontdesk side for sure, since they're doing a lot of what's essentially property management is what they're doing for short-term rentals. I have some experience with property management as I used to own a company of 125 doors was for property management. So we were doing property management for 125 doors. Now, it was single family. It certainly wasn't this size, but it was a single family, and it was a little bit on the higher end when it came to rental rates here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So I have property management experience, and I can tell you that property management sucks. I can tell you that property management as a whole, like, you need a huge amount of doors to make it wildly profitable, especially from a venture-backed organization. So I understand that this is Proptech. I understand that this has a lot of technology components to it and really playing on that. But at the end of the day, you still need a lot of doors under management because you're not keeping a huge delta of what's coming in. There's a slim margins based off of this, especially this model that you're operating with, but you have such a huge upfront cost. So what Frontdesk was doing was essentially the WeWork for this particular market, the short-term rental. So what WeWork does, where they secure large leases or leases for commercial spaces, and then they'll subdivide them or sublet them to organizations for short-term office space, if you will, where it's month-to-month or very short contracts. WeWork, that's essentially what the WeWork model was. Frontdesk was doing that for short-term rentals, where they were securing all of these properties, all these short-term rentals from various landlords, they were furnishing them. So you had a lot of upfront capital in making the purchases of that of the furniture, of the appliances, and everything in between to really beat them up and put them on their tech platform and try to make money off of that. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with WeWork as a company, WeWork just now went into bankruptcy as well. So again, this is also something I'm very familiar with because I actually office out of one WeWork. So that's something I have a good I feel their pain. Basically, I feel their pain quite a bit because I see how challenging it is in this particular model that they're trying to launch. And then I also, from the Agently side, so Agently is a software company that I co-founded almost 3 years ago now. I understand how challenging it is to raise capital. Right now in this environment, it's extremely challenging. Securing our next round is going to be extremely challenging because this previous round was extremely challenging as well. So right now, there's a lot of investment firms that are really on the sidelines or really looking at their options, where in the past they were jumping at any opportunity. They were just looking to deploy capital. But at this point right now, it's extremely challenging to get a check, especially a large check, cut. So if you have Frontdesk having done $27 million worth of fundraising, kudos to them. That's a huge accomplishment, but the burn rate has to be so astronomical at this point. You saw the 200 employees, those cost a lot of money. The development costs a lot of money, and the startup just to launch a short-term property, furnishing it and getting all the upfront costs out of the way, that's extremely hard. So really what they say when it comes to these particular types of companies, it's not necessarily the ones that are first, it's the people that purchase these distressed companies that end up making the money. So whoever picks up WeWork after they've done their over improvements in terms of every single commercial space that they went into, they're going to make a killing. Same thing here. If somebody swoops in and purchases Frontdesk for pennies on the dollar and really helps stabilize this company, they could potentially make a return. But as it sits right now, it's going to be very challenging for Frontdesk to get out of this. But as we get some more updates, I'll make sure to let you know. Outside of that, stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe and share this video with an agent that needs to see this.